Welcome back to Hotspur Hotnews, episode 2, where we bring you the hottest Tottenham Hotspur news here on YouTube with weekly uploads on Fridays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be there and be ready to watch every episode like this one. So, like every episode, we're going to have questions and topics to discuss about Tottenham and just soccer in general and what's going on, any transfer updates or any news updates, so we'll be there to provide. So, let's talk about, we saw this week the Ballon d'Or happened, and I just wanted to get your honest opinions on the result and if like you believe someone else should have won it or like rankings wise.
I don't remember all of the rankings. Actually, I think Dembele was pretty warranted. I think he was the most deserving. He was the best player, or had the best season on the best team in the world last year for PSG. Finally, living up to the the 100 million plus that Barca paid for him. Too bad for Barca they didn't do it with them, but no, I think he was deserving. I would say probably second would have been Rafinha, in my opinion, but that's. I think Dembele was a good choice for it. I think PSG was the best team last year. So
Yeah, I agree. PSG definitely was the best team, and I think Dembele did win. But like yesterday, when I was in school, I was like watching as it updated like the top 30, and once we got in, they like did individual posts. And what shocked my mind, you said Rafinha should have been second, and I totally agree with that. And they had Lamine Yamal at second, and Rafinha was actually fifth out of the
I thought it
entire.
was fourth.
Yeah, he was fifth, which I thought was absurd. I think he should have definitely been second, and I think you could have made a case that he wins the whole thing, because I think Dembele did deserve to win. He had the better season, and was a part of the best team in the world. But Rafinha also had a fantastic season and was a key part to Barcelona's dominance in La Liga and their success this year.
Who was? What are your thoughts on the top five? If Rafinha, obviously you don't agree that Rafinha should have been number five. What are your thoughts? How would you shake up the top five?
Yeah, so like I said, I feel like Rafinha should have been second. And then you got Salah at 4, Vitinha at 3, Yamin Lamal at 2. And, I mean, if I'm making my top 5, I'd go Lamine, actually. I'd put him at 5. Salah, I think you just swap Lamine and Rafinha, and you put, so it'd be Lamine, Salah, Vitinha. I think you could also swap Vitinha and Salah, because Salah had a fantastic year with Liverpool, and they won the Premier League, which is the hardest league in all Europe. So you get Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, Vitinha, Salah, Rafinha, and Dembele is my top 5 order.
Yeah, I think that's. I don't disagree with you. I think you can shuffle it around, and I think to some extent, like with Lamine Yamal, it becomes just a popularity contest. Like the guy's the most popular player probably in the world right now. And I mean there is something to be said that how young he is, and the guy, he's electric when he gets on the ball. So
Yeah, he's fun to watch. Don't get me wrong. He's an incredible player. He's only 18 years old, but I feel like the reputation of the fact that he's only 18 years old is carrying him in a public view and causing him to be higher up in these awards, because it's like, oh, he's only 18, he's putting up these stats. Yes, but these other players are doing better. So you got to take that into account. That's why I don't think he should have been second, because it's a little high in my opinion. All right, this Saturday, Tottenham face off against Wolves, who so far this season haven't won a game. They lost all 5, and what do you think? What are your expectations going into the match?
I honestly think this will be kind of a breakout match for us. Obviously, Wolves are bad, but I think this is kind of a week where we can kind of establish dominance early on, not jump out to a slow start, and not play down to the team that we're playing against. I feel like, not that Bournemouth is a bad team, but I think we have more skilled players than they do, and I think we've started slow in the attack. I'd like to see Xavi Simons get on the ball early and try to create push things through. Um, I I did think in the last game against Brighton, we were a little susceptible against the counterattack, and it might have something to do. Udogi played and was man of the match for us, but I think the biggest difference is he gets forward so much, and he's so active in our attack and what we're trying to do in creating um, goal scoring opportunities that Brighton realized that our on on our wide areas, if they could turn us over, turn possession over, they could play the ball through. And you saw it with Minta. They played that ball through, and he has the speed to just run onto it from the wide areas. Now he was kind of cutting into the middle, but their game plan, which was effective, seems to be to play the ball out to the wide areas. And so I think you'll see us be not necessarily be a little bit more reserved in the line that we play, because I do think that. I think Udogi will get the start again, because I think Jed Spence will get the start against Doncaster in the EFL Cup. I think it's tomorrow. I think that game's tomorrow.
It's
Um,
either tomorrow or Thursday.
yeah, I can't remember which one. Um, but I think um, I honestly look for us to really dominate start to finish.
Yeah, I agree. I think that like games like Bournemouth and Brighton, we need to, like you said, start off with a higher, like our attack needs to show up earlier, because we went down 2-0 and it was present that we weren't playing at the level we should be. Then halftime, we make some adjustments. You come out second half, we tie it up 2-2 and get the draw. You get the point. But I feel like how we were playing second half, we were doing that the whole game. Then I think we would have got all 3 points. We came out with the victory, and similar to Bournemouth. But I feel like in Bournemouth, it wasn't our greatest performance, and I feel like we were still getting used to the new system. And
Well, and I think as far as current managers in the Premier League, I think Iriolo is one of the best in the Premier League.
definitely,
He has them playing so well in his system, and their attack, their transition from the midfield to the attack is so fluid that it, and they do have some really good players, some really good attackers. We talked about Semenyo a little bit on the last episode. Um, but I don't think Wolves have anywhere close to the tactics, the players, or the kind of the depth to stay with us. And so I'd really like to see us, focus more on, pushing the pace early on.
yeah, I completely agree, and I hope that I really hope that we show our dominance, and like I want to keep a clean sheet. I want to win by at least 2 goals, and also a big hope that I have is that we maybe start Colomani, because we yet to really see him get much of a chance, and I really want to see what he can do in Thomas Frank's system. So I'd be very open to letting him get the start.
I I agree, but I think he's more likely to start midweek against Doncaster than he is to start in the Premier League.
That is what could affect the starting lineup on Saturday, because depending on
Yeah, for
who
sure.
plays in that matchup, we'll see. They're probably going to get rested for. I feel like we won't start. We will start less starters, because, I mean, it's Premier League Wolves, who haven't had a good season, but versus Doncaster. So I don't think we'll go with our full starting lineup, but I think we will have some starters. I think we'll get them rested on Saturday.
I think I know it's not really on the topic of Wolves for Saturday, but I think um, against Doncaster you'll see almost an entirely different squad.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll have two new center backs. I think you'll see Ben Davies and Kevin Danso get the start. You might see Archie Gray in the midfield. Um, I'm sure Tell will get the start. Brennan Johnson will probably get the start, even on the right hand side.
Mm-hmm.
Because Kudus has been playing a lot, so I would be surprised to see Kudus against Doncaster. But I think we'll come out with the full power squad on Saturday against Wolves. I'd like to see Solanke actually. He's back in training this week, and I'd like to see him in this system, get kind of bedded in and get used to playing in this system. Because
Hmm.
I think he's a little bit more of a target man than Richarlison is.
Yeah, Richarlison did have a good. We talked about this last episode. He had a great hot start to the season, but he's definitely taken a step down. But and Richarlison does add a better aspect of pressure, which I want to see in the system. So, I mean, we'll see on Saturday. All right.
Yep, it'll be super disappointing if we don't get all 3 points on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. You kind of said this earlier. At this point in the world, who do you believe is the best team in all
Well,
competition?
earlier I said PSG, but I also said last year. I honestly think it's Bayern right now. If you look at what they're doing in the Bundesliga through 4 games, their goal differential is already plus 15.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
they're destroying people, and I think one of the reasons that they're so dangerous is their attack. Um, they have their front three: Diaz, Kane, and Olise. I mean, that for me right now is the best front three in the world. The things that Kane does, not just finishing, but off the ball, his link up play, his tracking back on defense. I think he allows, and you saw it with the combination with him and Sonny for all those years at Tottenham. What he does as a center forward. You could say he's one of, if not the best finisher in the world. But his range of passing, his dropping deep to get on the ball to create space for other players to run into. I think it just makes their attack super super dangerous.
yeah, and you look back to Holland's first season with City, when Erling Holland played amazing, he set the record for most goals in a season, and everyone's talking about he's the best striker that season, which I'm not saying he wasn't. He was amazing that year, but people didn't quite look at the fact that in second place for goals with a horrible roster for Tottenham, Harry Kane had about I think 30 goals.
He had 30 goals that year.
Yeah, 30 goals with a really bad Tottenham squad. It,
There was a statistic that if they removed Harry Kane's goal contributions, the team would have finished 17th that year.
yeah, which is just shows you how much of a dominant player and a key aspect to the team he is. Because I feel like right now, you take Harry Kane out of Bayern right now, they won't have nearly as much production. I mean, they still have
Mm-mm.
so much depth in that league, and you have to take into account their league isn't as high of competition as the Premier League. But he's such a key factor in their winning because he makes great off ball runs, good link up play, and not only does he score so much, he also often has a handful of assists each season.
Well, I think he had 51 goal involvements, if I'm not mistaken, from last year.
Hmm.
And, Rafinha, who we were just talking about, he had 61. And I think he probably, they La Liga plays more games. I think it's 2 more games, or 2 or 4 more games in the regular season, in the league season,
Hmm.
than Bayern Munich does. So, I think for me, Bayern's the best team in the world. Who would you say is currently the best team in the world?
I feel like you could make Bayern's definitely up there. For me, it's kind of hard to already shift away from PSG because just it's like they didn't really lose much aspects. They lost
Donnarumma.
Donnarumma though, who
That's huge.
that's huge because he just won
He's
um the award for the best goalkeeper of the season, so that is an aspect. But I mean, Chevalier's not bad, and they have such a good back line. I think that by far they have the best outside back duo in the world with Nuno Mendes and Hakimi. They're just lights out.
well, and their midfield's dominant.
Yeah, you got João Neves, you got
Coutinho.
Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz. It's just so much, and they're up top. Doesn't really slow down. You get
Right, the
Dembele,
Ballon d'Or
Dewey,
winner.
Kavara, and Barcola. You have so much depth. So I just feel like it's kind of hard to shift away from PSG yet. So I personally would still go with PSG. But if that was a matchup, PSG Bayern right now, I that would be a great game to watch in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Out of all the players in the history of the club, Who is your favorite player to play for Tottenham Hotspur?
I just broke down why I think he's the best center forward in the world, but Harry Kane certainly is my favorite player of all time. I think he's the greatest English player of all time. I think people could argue that Alan Shearer's better. Um, Crazy people might argue that Wayne Rooney's better, but Harry Kane just what he brings to a team. I don't think any other, especially English players, have done that. And like we just talked about, if you took him off of you know that squad, what was that, 2018? No, that would have been way earlier.
I think
It
it's
would have been like
2022.
22.
Yeah.
Yeah, 22. They would have finished 17th if you removed his goal contributions. Um, it's just staggering how good he is.
Yeah, Harry Kane, I'm not saying he's bad. It's just he wouldn't be my favorite player of all time because growing up, when I first watched Tottenham, just seeing the when I was a little kid, just seeing the flashiness of Son when he was on the wing, putting a move on, and then this Puskas goal, he runs 18 all the way to the 6 and scores. Like, it's just electric gameplay you love watching. And I just feel like as a person as well, like I don't really you can't like it's rare to find anyone who doesn't like Son. He's just
Right.
a likable guy. He's flashy gameplay, and he's just a great human being in general.
Well, and I mean, I think you can make the argument that, um, and maybe just in the Premier League because that's where he spent more time. But you can make an argument that he's the best two-footed player to ever play in the Premier League. I mean, his finishing with either foot was so good.
Yeah.
And honestly, Harry Kane and Son have the most goal linked goal contributions in the history of the Premier League, meaning goals and assists between the two of them.
Hmm.
Um,
It was an elite duo.
it
Was just
was, yeah.
for so many years.
What a shame that Dele Alli fell off.
That's one of the most
Well,
tragic fall offs of a soccer
look
career.
look up sometime Dele Alli's stats up to when he was 23
They're better
versus
than
Jude.
Bellingham.
I was just going to say
Yeah,
versus Jude Bellingham,
he had
and it's not
better
even
stats.
close.
It was
It is
really not
not
close.
close.
It just shows you how much of an absolute stud he could have been had he just maintained his focus.
Yeah.
All right, and our last question is, what kit was your favorite out of all the kits in Tottenham Hotspur history?
So you and Jackson make fun of me a lot for being boring. Um, I actually really like this year's away kits, the black and silver. Um, but I would I took this question as home kits, but I guess you could say anything. So I like the black kits from this year, but the 2020 and the 2021 home kits. It was the white where they didn't have any stripes on the sleeves or the neck or anything like that.
Just
The
plain
real,
white.
real clean Spurs logo. It didn't have the badge around it. It was just the cockerel and the ball,
And then the blue
with
shorts.
the blue shorts and the blue socks especially. That was the kit right there for me. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you said you give me. We definitely give you for being boring, but honestly, this year's away kits might be my favorite, just because many
They're,
teams,
they're so nice.
it's just so clean. Like, nothing wrong with it. You just can't go wrong with a nice, clean, all black kit. It just looks
The only
appealing to the eye.
the only criticism that I've heard, Jackson said that if you look closely, there's like a like a
Yeah.
pattern to it,
Hmm.
and he doesn't like that. But
Yeah, but that you have to like if you're watching a game, you can't
you
see
don't
it.
see that,
You just
right?
see the nice black kit. And then follow up, what is your least favorite kit in all of Tottenham history?
I don't remember what year it was, but they were. So we had our like tan ones a couple years ago, but then we had ones that were like mustard yellow that had stripes on them. You
Mm-hmm.
you know you know what I'm talking about? It would have
Um,
been like 2020 time frame. Um, I can't remember what it was, but they were just atrocious.
I think
Um,
my least favorite kit is it's tied between two. It's, I think it was 2022, the black kits that just looked like it just had like a kindergartner splash paint on them.
Oh yeah, those were. You actually have one, a Son kit
Yeah,
of those.
because when
Yeah, it was 2022.
we went to a tournament, it was the only Spurs kit there, so I was just like, I mean, I'll get it. And then
Yeah.
also the other one is last year's third kits, those green ones. I couldn't stand
The
those.
the ones that I'm talking about are the 16, 17 third kit. So you have to look those up sometime.
I mean, it'll be displayed on the screen for so they'll see the viewers will see what it
Yeah,
is.
the 16, 17 third kit is just atrocious. Um, but yeah, I might choose the black kits. But I know that I've showed you the picture. There was like a mock-up of a gray, white, and yellow Air Max Spurs kit. That would have been epic. They never actually used it. It was just a prototype, but I really like that.
And also on the topic, if I'm going home kit, I mean, it also just looks classic. But 2020, I think it was 2023. Our home kits when we didn't have any Europe, so we wore all white the whole year. I always find it when we wear all white, it just looks so clean. And those kits that were the all white, I just love those. I mean, that was just an exciting start of the season, at least, when
Yeah.
James Madison was flying and we were being great. And then that Chelsea game just shook us. That's the
Hmm.
downfall of that year.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, we still
Well, and I think that's what
persevered.
ultimately exposed Big Ange for, you know, not being able to change his tactics. I mean, you're down two men and you're still playing with the back line. Their heels are on the center line. They were just picking passes out and playing them through. If they could get on the end of them or if they could stay on sides, they were
Hmm.
bound to score.
Yeah. All right, that just about sums up episode 2 of Hotspur Hot News. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll be back next week, Friday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Signing out for now. Later.
So, yeah.